I come to you in peace and complete love when I say that the reason why I am booking the clients that you want is because I dress better and because I have soft skills. I'll explain why. The mere definition of soft skills is the personal attributes that enable someone to harmoniously and effectively interact with other people. And let's face it, we all judge a book by its cover, and we make and draw our first impression of someone within 7 seconds of meeting them. Science proves that. Now, this is something I have spoken about in depth in my presentation, Business Class to First Class. And I've done this presentation for 4- and 5-star hotels all over the country. Now, I just finished devouring this book and did so in 2 days. It's called Start With Yourself, A New Vision for Work and Life by Emma Grede. Now, since I devoured this book, I first went through it in audiobook on Audible, and then I just loved it so much and I knew I would want to underline and highlight it that I ordered the hard copy right away. And I have since consumed Emma Grede's content, and let me tell you, it has just lit a fire under me, which sort of inspired and prompted this week's video. So, welcome to this week's vlog. If you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Lisa Lyons. I'm a wedding planner of 23 plus years, and I'm a certified etiquette advisor and coach. Now, you can imagine, after 23 years in the special events industry, I have seen it all. From my very first wedding, which I lovingly refer to as baptism by fire, to some baby weddings I tried out, middle weddings, many mistakes in between, to where I am now, which is producing upscale and luxury weddings by way of storytelling. And I absolutely love what I do. Now, about 6 years ago, and during COVID actually, I made the decision to get certified in etiquette. I have found a profound passion specifically for business etiquette. I've always had a passion for etiquette, and that is long-standing. Ask anyone who knows me. But there's something about business etiquette that just lights me up and lights me on fire. I find myself in a position now, after 23 years, I feel like I've done the rounds and I still love what I do. I find myself also in a really fortunate position to hand select the weddings that I want to take on. Now, where I find myself, and thanks to sort of tapping into the lessons that Emma Grede shared in that book that I mentioned earlier, she talks a lot about leadership, and she talks a lot about empathy. Now, empathy is one of the main core pillars and sensibilities of proper etiquette. Now, part of all of this goes with me having this desire to also mentor. Now, Emma speaks of the same. Now, I cannot tell you how many emails I get every week from either graduating students from our local university here, to budding entrepreneurs, to new wedding planners asking for advice, asking how to get into the business. Is networking worth it? What sort of organizations should I join? And the list goes on. And the fact of the matter is, I try to answer all of these emails as best as I can, but they really want my time. They want to take me out to coffee. They want to take me out for a glass of wine and bend my ear. As much as I want to meet with every single one of these individuals, time just doesn't permit that. I have my own work to do, and I have my own family to nurture, and of course my own passions. So I'm taking to this channel oftentimes not only to share gardening and some fun tips along the way and parts of my life, but things that I've learned throughout my journey as an entrepreneur, a wedding planner, and an etiquette coach, and particularly with business advice. So let's talk about my first proclamation, which is the fact that I'm getting the clients that you want because I dress better. Now, the fact of the matter is, you have to ask yourself, how do you want to be perceived? Now, the reason I mention that is I was speaking from my personal standpoint, from what I do. I am a luxury wedding planner. So when I have individuals emailing me or approaching me about advice to break into this luxury market, I assume they want to book the same clients I do. So the fact of the matter is, what I'm observing is they're not dressing the part. You really have to start thinking about personal branding. Now, personal branding basically is how you want to be perceived. Now, this is information that is in my business class to first class presentation that I mentioned earlier. So you, as the YouTube viewer, are getting an all access pass to this proprietary information. So in that light, if you like this content and you want to see more of it, please hit the like button and share it with someone else who may find this information valuable. Also, as always, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. So how do you want to be perceived? Well, it's what you do, it's what you talk about, it's how you talk about things, it's how you show up, it's the energy you bring to the room, it's how you make other people feel, the impact you have on others, it's what you look like, and it's the brands and the people that you are associated with.
How you visually present yourself affects more than how other people respond to you. It affects the way you speak, the way you feel about yourself, how you act and conduct yourself, and how others respond to you. Professional image. Your professional image is a key defining element that shapes your reputation. It reflects your appearance, behavior, conduct, and the verbal and nonverbal communication used both in person and online. Your professional image applies whether inside or outside the workplace. Not every profession requires formal business attire, but all roles require a polished look.
Now we're going to talk about some tips and questions to ask yourself to help you identify your personal brand. First, figure out your professional and personal goal. Next, think about what you want to be known for. Think about a signature style. How do you want people to describe you? What makes you unique? What are your specific talents? And what do you know more than what other people do? In other words, what's going to make you a leader in your field? Hello, I'm back. I had to take a little break there because I met with two really very exciting potential clients yesterday, and I promised them their proposals by the end of the day. So of course I had to take care of the matter at hand and business, and I have my fingers crossed. But what I wanted to say was I have merely skimmed the surface on all things personal branding and soft skills. I just wanted to give you some meat and potatoes of the bigger picture of what I've shared in that presentation with the organizations that I've mentioned before. So if you want to see more of this content or you want me to expand on this topic, please let me know below in the comments and I'll be happy to do that in another video. After all, this is my passion. There is another thing I wanted to address, which is not only our first impressions are in-person first impressions, but the first impressions we make in virtual meetings. Now, whether you take your meetings via Teams meeting or Zoom, however you do it, the same care and attention should be paid to the details. In other words, you should be professionally dressed, your hair should be styled, you should be well kept, and you should have a professional background. Now, I am at my desk. This is typically where I take my Zooms. This is always where I take my Zooms. Before, I was in an area of my office where I was chasing better light. But for the purpose of my virtual meetings, I'm right here. So you want to make sure that you pay particular attention to a professional background. No one wants to see your mattress or your bed unmade, or clothes that need to be folded in your room, or worse yet, that are on the floor, or any sort of visual distraction. There are, of course, other like AI backgrounds that you can use. So be sure to pay particular attention to that. And make sure before these meetings start that you arrive at least 5 minutes ahead of time so you can check the background, you can check what you look like, and of course you can check the volume and that your microphone is working properly. So another thing that I wanted to talk about with Emma Grede, and I'm telling you what, I feel like I have to hold up this book one more time because I swear I'm going to sleep with it underneath my pillow. Emma Grede, if you are watching this, I mean, the way I have consumed your content, my husband, I think he misses me, but after all, as you say, trade-offs. So what she uses a word a lot in the book, and that word is audacity. And boy, did that have me reflecting. And there are times where I will admit sometimes work gets easy, and work shouldn't be easy, not if you have goals, and I always have goals. And so you need to have the audacity to pursue something different, to elevate yourself or to strive for higher. And it reminded me of when I really was my most audacious or worked with the most audacity. And that was, if I've been a wedding planner for 23 years, I'm going to say this was maybe 21 years ago. And so for that reason, I'm like an adult in this reason. But I used audacity in how I broke into the luxury market, and boy, was it bold, and boy, was it risky. And I want to tell you that story, but I have lots more to do here. I want to finish up some work and answer some emails. I also want to do some puttering in the garden, so maybe I'll tell you that story from the greenhouse in just a little bit. But this part has been a great deal of fun, and yeah, I cannot wait to share that story with you.
So we're going to fast forward 200 years. In 1904, John Jacob Astor IV and Caroline Astor wanted to adopt this into their evening tradition. So this is where this came from. What we're celebrating is this beautiful day turning into evening. But as I said before, we are the house of celebration, so I wanted to open this up to everyone here who is celebrating anything.
Got me an ash!
Ready? Congratulations. If I could ask you to put your hands together, we're going to invite Jordan here. He's one of our concierges. He's one of our Five, four, three, two, one. Thank you.
Well, it's been a couple days since I last spoke with you, but now it's Saturday, and we are here again at in Longboat Key at the St. Regis Longboat Key Resort, and we love it here and we love working here. But I have my trusty pal and sidekick Jessica here with me to further reinforce my bold statement earlier in this video about dressing and personal branding. So we're actually dressed now. We are going to be outside all day, and we still consider that no excuse to dress poorly or I don't know, just inferior to what the occasion and the venue dictates. And we are in a five-star luxury hotel, and just because we're going to be outside in the heat doesn't mean we need to look any less than. So I thought we could talk briefly about when Jessica came on with me, I don't know, 100 years ago or so?
Around then.
What were some of the things I told you about dress code? And sometimes we've had people join us when we have rather large events to help us, and we're like, this is how you have to dress.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it was, we wear black cocktail dresses, tights, and black shoes. And you know, it's chic and sophisticated and my favorite color, so.
Yeah, it really is. Even
then like off-duty Jessica is in black typically. So yeah, right now, especially because we have to be comfortable and we're in the sort of heavy lifting stage of today's production and setup. She's in, where did you get these pants in? Lululemon?
Lululemon.
So, but they look like trousers. They're pleated, they're nice. She's got a nice sort of cap sleeve going on here. I have a mock neck and I have a skirt on at the moment. And then yeah, we have cocktail dresses like she says. We wear pantyhose as well. When we have our dear friends and colleagues that help us, they know some of them wear slacks to their weddings. We do not. Our dress code is to blend in and fit in with the dress code. And this is a black tie wedding today. So we both have our long cocktail dresses and the appropriate shoe wear and all of that. So we blend in. I've also seen, and this really isn't a dig, but I've seen planners like when they wear aprons and things like that.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, see, she's my person. I get that. I think that's a different wheelhouse and a different kind of business brand. They may be more in day of weddings and more DIY and everything. We wholly outsource all of our vendors, so there's really, I don't think, any reason for us to wear aprons and everything. I think everyone knows who we are when we are in our roles. They know we are the wedding planners. I don't think we need to look like wedding planners, like with clipboards and aprons and things like that. So
Getting ceremony ready.
yeah, she's got the whole, our entire guest suite is completely organized, like by the door, order of events with things that need to go out. So like we're good to go. We just checked in on our beautiful bride Gabriella and her girls, and they're great. And we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, friends. Well, Jessica went off screen to go get things set up, and I thought I would peel away here just to say goodbye and sort of close out this video. Plus, I promised that story about how I feel like I sort of broke into the luxury market, and it is a good one. So, back in, I would say, 2008, 2009, when we had that market crash, lots of things changed in every industry all across the board. That is unquestionable, that is irrefutable, all of the rest. Well, that was the era that I deem where sort of the day of wedding planner, day of coordinator, month of, those packages, I think that's when that theory and that business model was born. I think it's a great business model. I think people have done well with that business model. I know many colleagues that have done really well with that business model. It's just not a business model that I ever thought was for me back when everything was fine, and even when this crash happened. And coincidentally, when the crash happened, I was a single mother. I was in the process of building a townhouse for me and my 2 children, and I knew I could not afford that business model. They were young. I could not even afford to get a babysitter and then go to work. So what I did was I emailed venues, and I particularly emailed the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, Grand Lakes. And my letter went something like, "Dear ladies and gentlemen, if you do find yourself in a position where you have a couple that needs a full service planner, I hope that you will pass along my name." Now, I did that only because just prior to that, there was a new catering sales manager that walked into that role. And she was having a big sort of party, welcoming her into her role, welcoming wedding vendors to the Ritz-Carlton, introducing how she was going to change things up there, bringing a whole new brand of weddings to the property, etc. I was not on that list. I was still relatively new in the business. I found out about this party, however, and I called the office about 2 days before the party, and I said, "Hello, my name is Lisa," at the time my last name, and I mentioned that I may potentially have a client that's interested in the property. I'd love to look at some of the ballrooms to see if those spaces would suit their needs, as well as your outdoor spaces. I'll happen to be in your area in 2 days, the day of the party, returning some linen samples to XYZ company. Would you have any time on that day where I can have a guided tour or a self-guided tour? Well, that was immediately responded with an invitation to this party, where you better believe I made my way to make a personal introduction to this lovely young woman whose name was Christy Chanel, and then we had, after that, a very long-standing relationship while she was at the party and while she was at the property. And as
we all know, and if you don't know, I still to this day have a lasting, enduring, respectful, reciprocal relationship with Grand Lakes and the Ritz-Carlton at large. I've done many weddings at many properties all across the country because of that one bold move. And again, reading Emma Greed's book just brought that all back to me, and it flooded it back to me, and it reminded me that just because I'm 23 years into this and sort of sure-footed, I'm never going to take it for granted, and I'm going to continue to still be bold. So that is my charge to you as well. Be bold. And personal branding. Anyway, I hope you really liked this video. It was, again, I came with love and respect. And if you want to see more of this, please let me know in the comments. Please be sure to share this video if you find that someone could use it. And I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel as well. All right, well, Gabriella and Ash are waiting for me. I better get going, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's video. Bye-bye.